Like the television will say things that I hear in my head.
Why did you need to go get put under observation?
The voices were just like really abusive.
Hello all, my name is Pej. I'm an interventionist. I'm also a recovery coach. I help a lot of people with addiction, with alcoholism, and with mental health. Today I have my friend Derek here. I've known Derek for a lot of years. He's a great guy. I met him years ago when he was troubled. During that time, I think you were kind of living out of your car for a while.
Yeah.
You were a lot younger, obviously. But you didn't last long, at least not in the home that we had. You came and you left pretty fast. I think you were there maybe like a week. It's kind of crazy that one of the residents of the house who actually helped you later on became a house manager, and then he passed away from an overdose. But you came back into my life. Your mom always stayed in touch with me, and she would tell me often, like, Derek's gone to different sober livings. He's had a lot of problems staying sober. I know for a long time you weren't taking sobriety seriously. I know you did a lot of different types of substances throughout your life, right? And you've got some mental health, obviously, that has even kind of coincided with the substances that you used. When were you ever diagnosed with anything at a young age, like maybe in your 20s or anything like that, early 20s?
Yeah, I was diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Okay. And then does schizophrenia run in your family?
Yeah, it does. My mom told me growing up that it runs in her family and that she wouldn't be surprised if I got it, and to like let her know if I start hearing voices.
Gotcha. But when did you, okay, so as an adolescent, did you ever experiment with substances as a youngster?
Yes, when I was like 15.
15. And what did you first try?
Prescription pills,
Prescription pills like?
Xanax and Vicodin.
Okay, and how were you getting those?
I had friends at school that were getting them.
Okay,
I think they were driving across the border.
to go get those.
Yeah,
So you were just taking pills, plopping pills?
yeah.
Were you smoking them?
No,
Were you snorting them?
no, not so much. It started off with Xanax and Vicodin and Norcos,
Okay.
and I would take them when I got like to Sunday school,
Hmm.
like the detention center,
Yeah.
and we would take them before we went there.
Okay, and then were you smoking weed?
I started smoking weed when I was like 15, 16 years old.
Okay. And when you would smoke weed, did you hear voices?
No, I didn't start hearing voices until I was like 23.
Okay, is that when you officially were diagnosed with schizophrenia?
It was like a few years after, yeah.
Like 25?
Yeah.
So around your mid-20s, you were diagnosed with schizophrenia because what happened? Did you start hearing voices as a result of using drugs, or was it just voices?
It started off as like loud screaming, like I would hear just loud like yelling,
Hmm.
and then it slowly became like voices.
But were you sober, or were you using anything too at the time?
I was off and on of methamphetamines.
Okay, so in your 20s, you started doing meth.
Yeah, when I was like 23.
So what you were doing when you were younger, as far as like prescription meds or opiates,
Yeah,
had now turned into meth.
yeah.
Were you still doing any kind of opiates, Xanax or anything like that?
No, I stopped doing Xanax. I was doing a little bit of heroin when I was living on my own.
Were you
Around.
shooting the heroin when you were doing a little?
Yeah,
So you had gotten into intravenous shooting.
yeah.
When was the first time you ever shot any substance into your body?
When I was 25.
Okay, and then meth, were you shooting meth right away? Were you smoking it? Were you
I
snorting
was
it?
smoking it at first. And then the first time I ever shot meth was in jail.
How did you get a needle in jail?
I have no idea how they got it.
Oh, somebody else had gotten it?
Yeah.
Okay, so then when you were doing meth in your mid-20s, in your young adulthood, did you hear voices immediately, or was it gradual? Did it come on over a period of time?
It was one day I was in my car, and I remember I was in Laguna Beach, parked in like a Ralph's parking lot, and I was living out of my car. So I would look for places to just kind of like park my car, and it was usually like a grocery store or somewhere like that, so I could get food and stuff like that. I remember sitting in my car, and I was just hearing like really loud things. I was hearing like Secret Service and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Secret Service, as in like you would hear voices saying, you're wanted, they're coming to get you, the Secret Service is coming?
Um,
Any FBI
I've heard like
chatter?
I've heard Secret Service, I've heard FBI, I've heard like
CIA?
CIA. Yeah, yeah, I've heard all
What do
of
you
it.
think that is? Like, why is it that a lot of people that have drug-induced psychosis think that they're being spied on?
Um,
You think it's from watching a lot of movies and things like that? Like a paranoia?
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I remember reading a book called Me, Myself, and Them, and it says that it's like a common theme that people think that have schizophrenia think like the television talks to them. They think that like the CIA is like spying on them and stuff like that.
Did you ever think
Um,
the television was talking to you?
yeah, I've had like really strange experiences with the television.
Do you still?
Yeah,
Okay, so you're now, I know that,
like the television will say things that I hear in my head, and it's like, how does the television know what's going on with my schizophrenia? Because I try to ignore it and things like that. I've tried interacting with it. I've tried medication. I've tried no medication. I've tried a lot of things. Now I get a shot and it lasts for 30 days. It seems to help.
do you know what the shot is?
It is called,
Well, either way, you've gone and seen a
yeah,
psychiatrist and they've given you a shot now that's supposed to last 30 days, right?
yeah,
So, do you ever hear aliens?
yeah.
And what do the aliens say?
Um, they say like things about technology and yeah, things about like AI.
Do you believe
Um,
they're really there?
aliens?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you believe aliens are really talking to you?
I believe that there are actually aliens out there. I don't know if they're actually talking to me, but there's something called like extraterrestrial channeling,
Hmm.
and I bought a scalar wave device and it's a interstellar cosmic communication device, and that's what it's for, is for like trying to make contact. So
Okay. What about ghosts?
ghosts. Um, I know that I've heard that ghosts are real.
Have you ever seen any or heard any?
Um, I've seen paranormal things for sure.
Okay. So here's the deal. Because I've known you for a long time and I've been very involved in your recovery process, there's
Yeah.
been a lot of times that, I mean, just the last few years, if you ended up around us, it was usually because you'd gone on a run in your car, you'd obtained some money,
Yeah.
you went out and shot a bunch of meth,
Hmm.
shooting meth like with a needle.
Yeah.
Um, no fear of shooting, obviously. You didn't have any fear of shooting.
No, not at all.
And the reason that you would shoot the meth is because you get a direct like hit.
Um,
Is it like the highest that you ever got off of meth as opposed to smoking it or snorting it?
it's cleaner. Like it doesn't make my mouth all dry or my lungs all like feel not like crunchy, but like the chest pains.
But when you would
Um,
shoot it, would you go right into psychosis?
sometimes, yeah.
Do you believe that you have experienced drug-induced psychosis as a result of doing methamphetamine?
Yes.
Okay, so you do believe that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that do meth
Hmm.
and they're convinced that they're not in psychosis. It's not what you think it is. And they'll try to convince you that what's happening is real. Are you at a point now
It's
where
definitely psychosis.
it is psychosis?
Yeah.
This is actually a very good thing for an individual that gets caught up in that, to get honest with themselves and really like realize what's happening isn't really real.
Yeah. They're called tactile disturbances.
Okay.
And it's when you like feel and hear and see things that are not there, and they're real, but like for us, we're normal people, and it's psychosis. Like we aren't like well off enough or established, or we're not in the Secret Service or the FBI or the CIA or
Mhm.
anything, so like we're just experiencing the tactile disturbance.
Mhm.
Like if you're in the military, you could probably see like what was real with a tactile disturbance or not. But for us, like you literally are going through it and there's nothing you can do about it. It's not real for us. Like
Okay.
it's
So here's the deal. Personally, I did out of the 18 years that I used drugs,
Hmm.
16 of them were methamphetamine.
Yeah.
Most definitely, I did it a long time, right?
Hmm.
I watched other people going through psychosis when I was on meth, but not myself, right? I
Okay.
never experienced it myself. However, I did have a friend that wanted me to listen to the walls with a stethoscope and all the different. He had torn out the ceiling because he thought there was a camera there, but then when I asked him, "Well, where's the camera?" It's not there. He's like, "They moved it." A lot. Like he would convince himself of a lot of things that weren't really so. So he would often talk about FBI, CIA, and what I've come to the conclusion of, because we grow up and we see things, we learn things. Our environment kind of defines like who we are and where we are. And let's say like some people grow up in the Bible Belt and they feel like because if they do drugs, then they're damned in hell because Jesus is going to come down and not spare them, right? Because they continue to be sinners, for example.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, you'll see that individual suddenly start saying that they are the Antichrist or that they are Christ. Or I've seen that. Like
That's like a phenomenon that
it
happens.
happens a lot. So when it comes back to like the FBI thing, often when I talk to people, a lot of people find me on social media and they say, "Do you work with the feds? Like if I tell you my stuff right now, if I tell you my secrets, like is this stuff confidential?" And I'll tell them, "No, I don't work with the feds." However, are you breaking federal laws? Like the FBI, you'd have to be breaking some major federal laws for the FBI to even want to look at you, right? And I would imagine like if a person's just doing meth in their home or wherever they're doing it, it's not like they're out unless they're doing fraud, like things like that,
I was just
perhaps.
gonna say that. Like they probably are,
So there is
because
that paranoia because there's something to hide. But like the Secret Service or the CIA, it's like, why would the CIA be fixated on a person, an individual that's got a drug problem in the U.S. when there's so many people that have drug problems in the U.S.? They would probably go after like the big macaroni as opposed to like the little fish, right?
yeah, that's
So
why it's psychosis.
it is psychosis. So now another thing, in the time that I've known you, this is what happens. Like I've observed it. We've talked about it several times. Sometimes you will walk the yard, right?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of times when you're in your head, when you're maybe getting cabin fever, when you're, um, it seems like there's times when the voices get super loud. And then I see you, I'll come and tell you, like, I try to redirect and tell you, hey, like, don't do that to yourself. And you've told me that you absolutely hear, you're like yelling at whoever they are. What are they saying in those times?
Um.
Are they telling you to harm yourself? Are they telling you to harm others?
I hear they'll tell me like I don't really know how to explain it. Like it's like really interactive. Like it responds. It's like a like if you know what a narrative is.
Hmm.
It's like a really long running narrative, and
But what
it's
is your frustration when, if you're yelling, are you mad at them?
um, it's like the direction of the narrative.
Narrative coming from them or from you or in your head about them?
Yeah, well, it's about us, you know. It's like it's me, myself, and them, just like the book says. Me, myself, and the voices in my head, and we all work together
Is that
to.
book about psychosis?
No, it's just a young person's like account of their schizophrenia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as a person with schizophrenia, do you hate that this has happened to you?
Not necessarily. I've learned to live with it.
You have kind of just understood that this is who you are, and as long as you're staying stable. Because I know, like a while back, you something happened to you
Mhm.
where you were hospitalized for about what 10, 15 days or something like that.
Yeah.
What happened there? Why did you need to go get put under observation?
The voices were just like really abusive,
Okay.
like psychological like torture almost, and I like was starting to like I'll feel things that aren't there,
Mm-hmm.
and so like I'll hear it saying something, and then it'll like it'll like poke me like in the side,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
And
and it'll be like, if I'm not real, then why do you feel that? And it starts doing that in my head, and then it starts taking the narrative and making it real negative. So like I've tried to contribute like positive things to it. Um,
when you were in the hospital, what happens there when you're there for the like the 10, 15 days?
They adjusted my medication.
Okay, were your meds off, and that's why that happens?
I think that you just get used to it.
For you to get hospitalized, does that mean like the meds weren't working like they were before?
Yeah,
Okay, because I don't really see you walking the yard anymore.
yeah. I've been really focused on trying to get my like music down.
Okay, so and that's what I wanted to make this video to basically. There's a lot of people that are constantly contacting me. A lot of wives, a lot of girlfriends, a lot of men, a lot of people about their kid, saying that my kid's in psychosis. I don't know what to do. My husband's in psychosis. I don't know what to do. And like I don't have the magical answers for them because it's really hard to get through to people with psychosis. However, I've done a lot of interventions on people with psychosis, and I know as a person that's a former meth user where their head is probably at, and I know how to hopefully in most cases try to reel them in back to reality, and the hope is to get them to understand, hey, like what you're feeling isn't so, it's not such, like we need to get you back to reality. So
Yeah, reality check them.
right, but in a nice way, because
Yeah.
like they could become a potential danger to themselves or somebody else. Now, with that said, while you've been in my life, I've watched you work the 12 steps,
Yeah,
obviously to address your addiction problem. You did it once before, but then you went back and relapsed. You did it this time, and now it's been amazing to watch you. You're going to school. It's all online.
hmm
And what is your dream? What's your goal?
audio production.
Audio production, because you're a musician.
Yeah,
And you make everything from rap music to beats to even some EDM.
yeah,
Okay, and then you did have a fascination with Bitcoin for a while. I told you to get the hell away from that
yeah,
because you don't have the luxury of investing whatever money you make from you have a job,
yeah,
you hold a job, you don't have your car right now. We've decided to not let you have your car because usually when you get your car and your head starts playing with you, you get in your car and you end up going and getting high and shooting dope.
yeah.
Now, I'm not to say like you shouldn't have your car for the rest of your life, but you're in the process of us seeing if you're stable or not to get there.
Yes.
I know last week you wanted to go to a rave.
Yeah.
How long are you sober right now?
9 months and 24 days.
So this time you're 9 months and 24 days. I believe that I told you that once you get to 1 year of solid sobriety, I'll take you to a rave because we do have a sober movement that goes to raves. So with that said, would you like to play a song that you've made more recently? This guy's like truly...
Yes, please.
Okay, put it on. Put
All
the
right.
song on. Truly talented, like a very... Whenever he like wants to show me his music, I'm not exactly sure if I want to hear it, but then he'll play it and I'll just be like, my jaw will drop. Wow, like you made that? Play us 30 seconds of it,
Okay.
because I know you got to get to work too.
Yes, sir.
I don't wanna wait for the weekend. I wanna party right now. Let me just release all this good thing. Forget our troubles now.
You dance to it?
Yeah.
Are you proud of it?
Yeah. Really proud of it. Like that?
I love it. Stop it for a second. So, I mean, the stuff you're putting out there, it sounds majorly professional. You're doing this from the comfort of our home, right?
Yeah.
When you listen to your music, do you hear stuff in there?
It calms me down. I'll hear stuff like after. It'll change the narrative too. That's like running through my head.
Is your narrative... I know in the past you've had some negative thought processes.
Yeah.
Right? Is your narrative calming right now? Are you in good spirits?
Yeah.
And I don't see you really like walking around yelling anymore.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
For the people that are out there that have a loved one that's struggling, or for even people that are in psychosis, what kind of energy can you put out into the universe, like to give people hope?
I would tell them to just put all that stuff down, all that psychosis, and
How would they put it down? By stopping the drugs? Because there's people that are...
even with the drugs, like you don't give it your attention, and you have to almost do like an A and B check You have to, like, this is me when I'm like fully possessed, because it's like possession, you know?
You are
When,
possessed, yeah.
and when you're not possessed and you just like, you need to like take a breath and relax and just like let it play and just laugh at it and say, that stuff's not real, that stuff's not real, that stuff's not real. And you'll eventually realize like it's something paranormal, which is like out of our hands, you know?
Okay,
And so
another thing I
like,
want to ask is this. I know that meth can create meth-induced psychosis. Are you aware that THC, there is some THC, depending on the concentrate and things like that, and maybe even some flower, that is creating psychosis? Did you know this?
yeah, I've had it happen like once or twice.
Yeah. There's a lot of youngsters and people that are telling me that they're experiencing, there's some people that have mania and other mental health stuff going on. They will self-medicate with the THC, but it then actually activates the mental health worse.
Yeah.
Okay. So what an awesome time spending time with you and like hearing about this stuff.
Yeah, that medication is called Aristata. My shot that I
Okay.
get.
Oh, you just remembered it.
Yeah.
And Aristotle lasts for 1 month,
Mm-hmm.
and it normalizes you to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
So there's hope for you.
Yeah.
There's hope for others that are struggling too.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Okay, so if you or somebody that you know is struggling with psychosis, with drug-induced psychosis, and you're just at your wit's end and you don't know what to do about it, you can always reach out to me. I would love to be able to work with you. I do a lot of, besides interventions and trying to help people get out of a mess that they might be in, I also do some coaching, a lot of coaching, recovery coaching, life coaching, sober coaching. I've actually worked very closely with Derek to try to get him back into the mainstream of life and have a normal life rather than go back to shooting dope in his car and just being lost in the clouds. So my number is 310-596-9356. You can always contact me and we can have a conversation and see if I can help you in any way, shape, or form. Thanks.